Verde sembri tu, o luna che cominci già a spuntar, nel cielo pien di magico splendor, tu vieni ancora a farmi ricordar il mio perduto amor. Tu che mi sorridi verde luna, tu che già
From its foundation nearly 3,000 years ago, Rome grew from a tiny hill settlement of transient shepherds to become the capital city first of Latium, then of Italy, and eventually of the entire Mediterranean world. This expansion was reflected in more than 1,000 years of urban growth that incorporated the influences of Etruscan kings who ruled Rome and Greeks who came to the city as immigrants, as well as architects and scholars, and of the many other foreign peoples for whom Rome became their home. The summer of 2013, we spent 3 weeks in Rome, visiting the vast archaeological spaces and relics under the guidance of noted scholars. Here among the statues, monuments, and religious artifacts, we delved a bit deeper into the zeitgeist of ancient Rome and its many unanswered and perhaps unanswerable mysteries. We stayed at the Pace Helvetia Hotel, central to popular historical sites such as the Trevi Fountain, the Spanish Steps, and of course the Colosseum. In Rome, there is a feeling of an old and deeply superstitious culture, still ingrained in the practices and surroundings of daily activities. Here you can dine among newly ordained English-speaking priests, but also witness the latest in fashion among the fashionable. Outside of the formal tour, which concentrated primarily on the archaeological aspects of ancient Rome, and which we will discuss later, we were free to contemplate Rome's most notorious antiquities through a philosophical window. For me, this was the Colosseum. The Colosseum is the most famous and instantly recognizable monument to have survived from the classical world. The initial structure was conceived in order to be built by the Emperor Vespasian in AD 72, with opening ceremonies under his son Titus in AD 80. The whole structure covered some 6 acres. Its outer elevation comprised 4 stories to a total of 157 feet, with 80 arches on the ground floor, giving an entrance to seats and an arena inside. The arena measured 278 by 177 feet and could accommodate 87,000 spectators. But the physical nature of the Colosseum isn't really what impresses. It's what went on inside. It's worth noting here that the recent movie The Gladiator with Russell Crowe doesn't really even come close to the reality of the Colosseum. The gladiatorial spectacles of which it was the scene for nearly 400 years are matters of history. And in the dedication of the building by Titus, 5,000 wild beasts were slain in the arena in honor of the event that lasted for nearly 100 days. Although we have no figures at all for the deaths among the gladiators, it has been said On a single day, 5,000 animals were killed, a claim that has been boldly reinterpreted by a few modern scholars to mean on every single day of a performance, 5,000 animals were killed.
We Romans had some horrible ways of entertaining ourselves, like watching gladiators fight against wild animals.
People of Rome, welcome to the final day of Emperor Titus's 100 Days of Games, to mark the opening of the mighty Colosseum. We've seen gladiators take on lions, tigers, buffalo, rhino, even crocodiles. What will they bring you today?
Oh, just as long as it's not tigers. I hate tigers.
Release the beast!
We've got a bit of a problem with today's show. We've run out of animals.
What?
Well, after 100 days of entertainment, they've all been slaughtered. We've literally run out.
So no lions?
No,
Tigers?
no.
Thank gods.
We have found half a bear, but it's not much good at fighting.
Elephants? Leopards? Hippos?
No. Rome has plundered the whole of North Africa for wild animals, and you gladiators have killed them all. There are none left.
What's going on down there?
Nothing. Won't be a second. Listen, the crowd are baying for blood. We've got to find an animal to slaughter, otherwise we're dead men. We'll have to fight one another.
There is one, I suppose.
A gerbil.
British humor aside, for the Roman gladiator, there was scant humor as depicted in Jean-Léon Gérôme's painting Pollice Verse, as it captures the moment when the audience demand the slaughter of the defeated gladiator. Our contemporary gladiators face a less existential threat, as thousands of tourists visit the ruins of the Colosseum every day. The casual tourist, however, is unaware of the real conundrum in interpreting the literature on the Colosseum, or what a sophisticated Roman audience might have found to admire in these horrible, bloodthirsty performances. The most extravagant literary example is a slim book of verse, specially composed by the Roman poet Martial, to celebrate the inaugural games in the Colosseum, where no hype is spared in praising the building. They bring us face to face with the exquisite inventiveness of cruelty. The first act Martial celebrates is one that modern readers must find most shocking. It is not from what we now imagine to be the standard repertoire of these shows, gladiators and wild beast hunts, or the execution of criminals by animals. Instead, it is a strange reenacting a story from mythology. In this case, the story played out is that of the wife of King Minos of Crete, whom the god Poseidon made fall in love with a bull. The famous half-bull, half-human Minotaur was the result of the union. Martial's poem appears to claim that this event was acted out before the audience in the amphitheater, between a woman and a live animal, while praising the capacity of the show to make real such ancient mythological tales. But how literally are we to interpret this? What the modern observer has left to ponder are these stunning physical artifacts from antiquity, ravaged by weather and scavenging and the uncertainty of what truly transpired within the walls of the Roman Colosseum. Our archaeological expedition goes back in time from Rome, the early Republic, and proceeds forward until the 4th century Christian Rome. The expedition was led by Professor Miles MacDonald of Baruch College. Beginning from the early Republic in 400 BCE, one can observe what remains of the Servian wall on the Aventine just outside the picturesque town of Nemi. Here also lies the remains of the archaic altars of the Latin League in the ancient Lavinium. Just past the majestic Lago Albano is the ancient city of Tusculum, where there is an ongoing excavation conducted by the Spanish school in Rome, where a 3rd century BCE wall and forum are currently being exhumed. As our small study group made our way through the hallmarks of Roman antiquity, we never let an opportunity pass to enjoy the incredible Roman cuisine and wines, the modern versions. In much the same way as Romans eat today, they followed the traditions established by their ancestors: light breakfast, and the evening meal was divided into courses as today, with first, second, and third course menus. Foods for the wealthy were often exotic, and wine was served instead of coffee at breakfast. For some 7,000 years, people have made wine, but the enjoyment of alcohol goes back further into the past. The ancients wrote little about the first viniculture, but they constantly discussed the origins of the wine god. His identity and significance are still relevant today because he has survived the ages in the form of Jesus Christ. Continuing forward in time, around 300 BCE, in early Rome are the Etruscans' remnants of Iron Age huts still standing on the Palatine Hill, and venerated in antiquity as the settlement of Romulus, the mythic figure considered by the ancients as the founder of Rome. These archaeological ruins are comprised of early Roman forums and the Temple of Vesta, remnants of the Forum Hilarium, the produce market, and mid-Republican temples of Janus, Spes, and Juno, as well as the Church of San Nicola, can still be imagined from the remnants. Many artifacts from this era, such as the ancient cattle market and the Pons Fabricus, Rome's oldest known bridge, still survives. Several temples can be seen, including the Temple of Portunus and the Round Temple. Tiber Island, which was dedicated to medicine from 289 BCE, can be reached from the Pons Fabricus. These ruins still prevail among Rome's busy and colorful neighborhoods, such as the Trastevere, where early Etruscans built the Via Julia. In this time period, the Republic of Rome thrives. Roman art and artifacts abound, and today they are displayed in prominent museums, including the Museo Capitoline and the Museo Conservatore, which hold the restored foundations of the great 6th century BCE Temple of Jupiter Optimus Maximus, as well as the equestrian statue of Marcus Aurelius. In these same museums resides the Tabularium, containing ancient state archives built by the dictator Sulla. Also in the time frame of Sulla is the magnificent Forum and the Campus Martius. It is not unusual for many restaurants, businesses, and even homes to be built around some ancient historic ruin. This is the case with the Restaurant di Pancrazio, in whose cellar are the foundations of the Theater of Pompey, Rome's first permanent theater. Among the more prominent ruins are the 4 Republican temples, and close by, the site of Caesar's assassination. Many of the ruins are still currently being excavated with difficulty since they lie buried beneath contemporary operating structures, as with the newly unearthed Crypta Balbi, the underground portico to the Theatre of Balbus. More familiar in modern popular culture is Rome during the late Republican and Augustan period. The Forum of Julius Caesar, which was renamed the Roman Forum after Caesar's assassination, and the imperial residences were originally constructed about the 1st century BCE. The structures here include the Temple of Mars, the Avenger, and newer excavations such as the forums of Nerva and Pise. The Emperor Trajan reigned during the early Empire of Rome, and a temple, market, and forum were constructed in his honor, depicting scenes in the war against the Dacians. Some structures underwent transformations as they were handed down from one emperor to the next, as in a Republican political center converted into an entertainment district. This general area is also the site of the Septa Julia, where Roman citizens once voted, the Baths of Agrippa, and of course the Pantheon. In the 2nd century AD, the Roman Empire was in full flourish, but it needed protection, and thus a stone wall 70 miles in length was built and came to be known as Hadrian's Wall, the remnant of which can be seen best at Tivoli, along with Hadrian's Villa, the largest ever built in the Roman Empire, a steam-heated beach, underground passages for horses and carts, baths, libraries, the Palazzo d'Oro, and the famous Canopus, modeled on the ancient canal at Alexandria, Egypt. Of course, in Tivoli resides the incredible fountains of the Villa d'Este, masterpiece of the Italian garden, with its impressive concentration of fountains, nymphs, grottos, plays of water, and music. It is included in the UNESCO World Heritage List.
Verde sembri tu, o luna che cominci già a spuntar, nel cielo pien di magico splendore, tu vieni ancora a farmi ricordar il mio perduto amore.
Outside Rome, there lies the best preserved ancient city in Italy, Ostia Antica. Founded in the 4th century BCE, it became the thriving port of Rome. It contains remnants of the ancient Trajan harbor and a synagogue dating to the 1st century.
Sai che attendo chi mi sta lontano, verde luna, ma l'attesa è vana. Tu che gli sorridi, verde luna, digli che nel cuore non ho nessuno.
Rome's later empire consists of the imperial palaces on the Palatine Hill, along with early Christian structures in the Roman Forum, including the enormous Basilica of Maxentius, completed by the Emperor Constantine, and the Arch of Constantine at the beginning of the Via Sacra. On the Via Appia, there is also the Catacomb of San Sebastiano. The archaeological tour concludes with the end of the 4th century Christian Rome with Christian art and artifacts, including Saint Costanza and Saint Agnese. At the conclusion of our archaeological expedition, we knew we barely touched the surface, in exploring the remnants of the early Romans. We explored building techniques, architecture, dates, places, barely taking in how life was lived in early Rome. Yet there is a feeling that Rome is the eternal city through time, where so much has changed, yet stayed the same.
Come si dice in italiano? Capito? Non capisco. Non capisco. Può parlare più lentamente?